assertion of Bahujan politics is the only way to reduce religious animosity and the politics that BJP. Now, if you want to look at the whole politics, it has always been within the binary of left versus right. We have a problem with the entire world which has exclusively been upper caste always.
So, hi Sujat.
Hi.
Directly, asking you the questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So the first one is, how do we mobilize young people to get involved in political and social activism, and what strategies have been effective for you?
See, I don't think we need to necessarily get the young people involved actively in active politics or in the movement. I think the BJP has done that for us. Now, I'll answer this question in 2-3 different ways. If you look at the last few movements which have been happening since the BJP came around, and the major movements, one movement was after Rohit Vemula was institutionally murdered. The second movement immediately sprung up in JNU. Then you saw a Maharashtra-wide Maharashtra Bandh after the Bhima Koregaon riots. There was the Maratha Kranti Morcha happening. There was the NRC CAA movement. A very Mumbai-specific example would be the RA Colony protest, and a pan-India example would be the NRC CAA protest. Now, even though these different movements were led by different people from different walks of life, and also were not interlinked together as an entire whole issue, one thing that lies common in most of these things was that all of these protests were youth driven and students had participated in high numbers. One thing can obviously be said is that Dalit, Bahujan, Adivasi, Muslim kids never have been needed to push towards politics or to join political protests because politics was always at their doorstep. And if you take the example of NRC CAA alone, you would have seen certain placards like it has gotten so worse that even the Sobo kids are here. Now Sobo kids means the South Bombay kids, and that also means that if the most elite of the elite are joining the protest, we don't need to take an active step to bring kids. The policies that Narendra Modi government have brought in, which is banning certain documentaries, banning videos, banning food, banning pornography, and all these things have also taken things so much into personal life that even the most elite crowds are now joining in the political protests because things have come down to the freedom of choice of the things they wear, they get to eat, they get to watch, and this has made them leave their kind of a comfy cocoon and come and protest with us. But to answer your question very specifically, there are two things that are always needed for mobilization and for helping people join in protests. One is spreading awareness, which is telling people of different issues and the problems and why we are protesting. And secondly is outreach, that is going up to different people, joining them, building contacts, building networks and relationships, and asking them to join up us.
Looking ahead, what are your goals and priorities for the youth wing of Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi? And what steps do you plan to take to achieve them?
There are multiple goals and visions for Vanchit Bahujan Yuvak Aghadi. Firstly, we want to make Vanchit Bahujan Yuvak Aghadi a platform for all the youth who want to raise their voice and who are not getting a platform to come and speak up about what their issues are, about what their problems are, and a platform to challenge the current dispensation in power. That being said, that is always an aim of a youth wing. That being said, Vanchit Bahujan Yuvak Aghadi also wants to establish it as a platform to connect different Bahujan and Adivasi youths who are not as politically motivated as other Dalit or Muslim communities in a way, and also for them to come together and even not only speak about their political problems but speak about different problems that they are facing, such as education, such as getting jobs after getting an education, coming together, building a common platform to put pressure on their educational institutions, to put pressure on wherever they are working, and to come together as a sort of a platform. We would also want to establish Vanchit Bahujan Yuvak Aghadi as a pressure group within Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi, where issues of the youth, which may not be addressed or recognized by the party, will be put in front of the party leadership by the Yuvak Aghadi. Now we don't have a father body, we have a parent body in Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi. And basic step or example I can give you is, before the upcoming elections, the Vanchit Bahujan Yuvak Aghadi should be demanding a certain representation of youths as candidates from the parent body which is in charge of declaring the candidacy. So this is how we want to shape Vanchit Bahujan Yuvak Aghadi forward.
The recent developments in university politics have seen Ambedkarite politics emerging as a strong alternative to left versus right. How can that be channelized? How do you see it?
There are different reasons for which Ambedkarite politics has been emerging across the country in different institutions. The first and major reason for this was the institutional murder of Rohit Vemula, which galvanized support across the country. This was subsequently followed by a demand to enact the Rohit Vemula Act, which spoke about ending caste discrimination on university and educational campuses. Followed by this, there was also institutional murders of different other students such as Payal Tadvi or Darshan Solanki, and that led to mass spread awareness and students who weren't politically aware standing up for their peers, standing up against caste-based discrimination and standing up strongly with asserting their caste identity. Now, if you want to look at the whole politics, it has always been within the binary of left versus right. And when the Ambedkarite youths are coming forward, their clear stance is, we don't have a problem with the wing, may it be the right wing or the left wing. We have a problem with the entire bird, which has exclusively been upper caste always. And the problem of representation comes. Another major movement was because of which Ambedkarite movement has been furthered in universities, was of how the left leadership within the within the university campuses have used political movements to their benefits. Subsequently, after Rohit Vemula's institutional murder, we would see JNU protests galvanizing around Kanhaiya Kumar. At that point, for many of the people across the country, especially of the youth, which are the youth, Kanhaiya Kumar had sort of kind of become an icon for everybody who was fighting against Modi and who was going to change independent party politics, who was going to shape up the voice of youth. But later, when Kanhaiya Kumar joined the Indian National Congress, there was a disillusionment amongst most of the youth that our platforms are being used by established upper caste leaders to join major political parties and get positions of favor. And this has actually furthered the Ambedkarite politics and agenda. When we say that we have always been underrepresented, the left or the right have always used Bahujan youth as foot soldiers to forward their protests, and enough representation or leadership roles have never been given to kids from the Dalit Bahujan or the Adivasi communities, may it be in the left or may it be in the right. And that is why you can see a further rise in Ambedkarite politics on campus. And the third reason also being is with coming awareness, and as more and more Ambedkarite academicians and intellectuals are occupying different university spaces, assertion of Ambedkarite politics and assertion of your caste-based identity, speaking about it and raising slogans of Jai Bhim have also created a space and for Ambedkarite politics to thrive on campuses, but it has also made other students aware that there is a scope for Ambedkarite politics, this exists on campuses, and help them join it.
Next, what steps can be taken by Ambedkarite youth leaders and organizations to bridge the gap between the academic discourse on Ambedkarite politics and the practical application of these ideas in everyday life?
Mm, I very much so hope that the Ambedkarite intellectuals and the academia doesn't get caught in the same trap that the left intellectuals or the academia is being trapped in. One thing I feel, and I'm kinda sad about it in a way, is that there is a gap or there's a huge vacuum between information flow between the activists who are working on the ground, between your cadres, between your karyakartas, and the Ambedkarite academia who are in institutions, or you can even academic institutions, or somewhat even elite institutions. Now, one thing when I speak about information flow is it should happen both ways. The ground cadre, the karyakarta should be providing information about what the ground realities are, what everyday realities are of the most remotest places of India, of the most rural places of India, to the academicians who are sitting in, say, places like Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi especially. And on the other hand, while we say that our movement is an intellectual movement and a movement based on education, the intellectuals who are and the academicians should also provide information and knowledge to the people who are working on the ground, to help them forward their understanding, ideologies, help them develop a clear sense of what they want to achieve, and even help them develop their speaking skills, their speeches, giving content for speeches, helping them face media. And this should be a two-way flow of information that will help the movement grow. Secondly, one thing I am extremely hopeful about, and if this doesn't happen in the next few years, this will be a major failure on the Ambedkarite leadership, as well as the different Ambedkarite academia present in different academic institutions, is that even though we are a movement that bases our fundamentals on education, parties like Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi, parties like BSP, parties like Bhim Army, parties like Thol Thirumavallam's VKC do not have research wings. And a party such as the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, whose fundamentals are very much against rational thinking or education, have massive research wings. We have academicians almost at every institution in the country, but it is just sad that none of the Ambedkarite parties have a research wing. So in the next few years, I just hope that the academicians and the intellectuals just don't shower the Ambedkarite leaders or the activists with jargons and suggestions, but actually come forth and help us create research wings that will actually help us tackle or fight with the major political parties such as BJP or the Congress.
How can the Ambedkarite movement effectively mobilize to counter Hindutva politics and promote a more inclusive and democratic society?
To answer this, let's just trace back how Hindutva politics began in India. The first trace of Hindutva politics to mobilize masses was seen in the Babri Masjid demolition, the Rath Yatra and the Car Seva. Now, this was strategically started immediately after the implementation of the Mandal Ayog. Now, what happened after the recommendations of Mandal Commission was that the Bahujan communities, especially the OBCs, had a strong caste belonging and started asserting them with their caste identities, which was detrimental to the Hindutva or the Sanghi politics or the Brahmanical politics, because the Bahujans were breaking away from them. To get them back, to get the Bahujans or the OBCs back into their fold and to reduce the sense of their caste assertion, the BJP systematically under the leadership of LK Advani started the Rath Yatra, which ended up demolishing the Babri Masjid. Now systematically another thing is the Babri Masjid was demolished on 6th December. That has another symbolic and cultural reference, as it happens to be Baba Saheb's Mahaparinirman Divas. But going back to your original question, the Rath Yatra was started to take away the sense of caste assertion amongst the Bahujans and fill it with a sense of Hindutva or an religious identity. So to take away the caste identity and put it as a religious identity, so that different Bahujan communities that were asserting their own rights would come back together as a homogeneous en-bloc Hindu group. And that is how Hindutva politics started in India, to kill down caste assertions of the Bahujans. Now, fast forwarded to the summer of 2022, and I'll give you a very small example of how we could successfully reverse engineer what BJP did back then. There's a very small scale political party in Maharashtra called the Maharashtra Navanirman Sena, which is run by Raj Thackeray. During last Ramzan, what Raj Thackeray's party systematically did on the recommendations and suggestions of the BJP was they decided to incite a feeling of insecurity among the society by saying that wherever there would be azans playing on speakers during the month of Ramzan, we would gather there and play Hanuman Chalisa more loudly. What VBA did as a counter strategy is said that we would welcome you to come and play our Hanuman Chalisas, but just make sure that the people who are coming are your relatives, is your kids and the people from your communities, and you're not using Bahujans as foot soldiers. And what happened subsequently was everybody realized that Brahmins are only and only going to incite violence. They are not going to step on the street. Eventually nobody stepped on the street because Brahmins themselves weren't going to. And the entire issue which the BJP and the MNS wanted to be a religious issue, a Hindu versus Muslim issue, became a Bahujan issue. And the entire feeling of insecurity that BJP was systematically trying to rise in Maharashtra was taken away. And this is why VBA also believes, and I personally believe, that assertion of Bahujan politics is the only way to reduce religious animosity and the politics that BJP is doing.
So for my next question, I think personally it has been answered, but still I'd like to ask you. How do you see Ambedkarite politics as counter to Hindutva politics in Maharashtra?
See, if you look at Maharashtra historically, Maharashtra until 2014 or the one Manohar Joshi CM-ship, Maharashtra politics has always been Maratha politics, may it be Congress or NCP. Maharashtra's leaderships within the NCP and Congress have always been dominant Maratha communities with an Saranjami ideology. A Saranjami ideology is a very heavy macho, masculine, Maratha patriarchal ideology, and that has been the driving force of Maharashtra politics. Apart from, say, Devendra Fadnavis, Manohar Joshi and Barrister A.G. Antule, there hasn't been a single non-Maratha CM for Maharashtra, and the rest two, one is a Brahmin, Uddhav Thackeray another Brahmin, and A.G. Antule was a Muslim person. And another fun fact is none of the non-Marathas have completed even a complete 5-year term in Maharashtra. That being said, even the Maratha politics in Maharashtra has two different divisions. There is a very politically charged rich Maratha, and then there is one poor, garib or vanchit Maratha. Now, the rich Maratha lobby has always been the lobby that has controlled the agro industries, have had major land control, are the land-owning, farming and tilling castes, and have now taken systematically over of the newer resources of production as well as sources of income, such as they control majority of the industrial beds, they control majority of the educational institutions, and they have systematically now pre-bought areas which have the IT parks and the IT sectors, which are the new source of revenue for Maharashtra. So, a way forward would be ensuring systematic representation in the Maharashtra Vidhan Sabha for different groups, and making sure that OBCs, micro OBCs, and the Vanchit groups from Maharashtra are adequately represented in the Vidhan Sabha, in the state representation, so that the policies they make will be beneficial and all-encompassing and inclusive.
So we are moving to the last question. In the recent times, we have witnessed the discourse of development regarding caste discrimination at a global level, like in the US. And it also entails the protection for caste minorities over there. How do you see it? How do you think will it contribute to the caste movement in India? Is it contributing at all?
To begin with, I would simply say that unlike what certain people have said in recent interviews, as much as Hindu upper castes will travel and take up spaces across the world, they will travel with their values, and casteism is a core value that they have. On the other hand, caste system is essentially a system to make sure that the property, the resources of the house, and the money stays within the family or the community. So even though Hindu upper castes may go to USA, may go to the UK, settle there, they will take caste system with them, make sure that they marry within their own community, even in the UK or US, so that even if their property may be in pound or dollars, will stay within their own community, whichever country they are. And the discrimination comes as a part of it and will be taken to different countries as the Hindu upper castes from India or the Indian subcontinent travel to different parts of the world. Now, as caste system is taken to different parts of the world by the Hindu UCs, what will happen subsequently is the real social evils of the caste system, such as discrimination, exclusiveness, outrusion, will be carried forward in the different countries and will be practiced there. Now, as one of the fundamentals of state policy, whichever country or state you go to, the state will have to make a subsequent policy to ban discrimination on its land. That is the essential of state policy making or policy making. But I am extremely glad that the Bahujans or the Dalit communities that have gone overseas have come together, have created a mass awareness amongst themselves, have mobilized themselves to a certain extent that they could come protest, take this issue to different universities or even states, and get different countries, states or universities to pass law to banning caste-based discrimination there. Now, while this is a welcome move, I think for the time being, the international issue of this caste discrimination that we are currently referring to will come to an halt there, because I don't think it will be an immediate movement where caste as a form of representation will be taken in Western countries along with ethnicity at the moment. But what this will help is, this will just give a sense of awareness and security, and to the people who are fighting within the caste with the caste system in India for decades now, that our people have also mobilized themselves in different countries, have gotten a foreign country to pass a law to protect them. And while this, I believe that this notion should only not end at a sense of security, it should also come forward where the community, the people, the leaders who have carried this movement across the world overseas, have a connect with the leadership in India, in Maharashtra, in different parts of India where Ambedkarite movement is coming up, and there is an exchange of resources, of information, of technology, and the movement overseas helps the Ambedkarite political leaders, helps the Ambedkarite parties in India with different information, technology, financial resources, data to combat mainstream political parties and for us to form an Ambedkarite government one day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Javi.